All right, hey guys, we are Team Fam. That's just the first initial of all of our names. And we're going to play the old Coldplay hits for you all. Just kidding. So we decided we wanted to do a MERN stack from the beginning.
What is your app?
Well, sorry?
What's your app?
Our app. We'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
Tell the story.
Sorry.
So we wanted to do a MERN app, but we were struggling with the idea. We knew we wanted to make an impact, so we went from industry to industry, to vertical, and we decided, communication. That's kind of been handled. That's been taken care of. There's been innovation there, and we knew that wasn't going to be for us. So we thought, let's look bigger. Can we do something in space? And we're like, the players there right now, they have a little bit more money than us, so we tabled that. We looked at, transportation, and that was also taken care of. So, what else was there? Humanitarian.
Oh my god.
And we just didn't want to compete with that either. What we ended up doing is we had this idea of this service, this activity that had been around since the 1950s, and it just hadn't seen innovation. It hadn't seen that light of the 21st century. We knew we wanted to make an impact for the environment, to save the trees, to promote community. And so what we decided to do was create a Dungeons and Dragons game manager. So I'm going to briefly talk about the landing page, and then I'm going to pass it off to everyone else involved. So everything you see on the front is React. And what we decided to do here was there is a file system that I read the file system, and I copied their file structure. So I actually want to show you briefly what professional code structure does look like. Is generally at work what they do, and I just took a picture of this. I was like, I'm going to do this for the app. Is they'll have an app component, or sorry, an app folder that contains your components, and each component has a folder of its own with an index.jsx for all the React stuff, and then all the styling, which we did in less. Same thing for the pages. Went ahead and did folders for the pages. So I'm going to scooch this. And you can see index.jsx less. So nothing fancy, just wanted to kind of show you generally, I'm sure you all have seen this before, your apps might be structured similarly, but this was kind of something that I thought was very cool. So I just wanted to share that briefly. And then the one other thing that I am slightly proud of is this incognito. What are you doing now? Is one moment.
You can be more proud.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay to just be proud.
You can just be proud of it.
I'm
Be proud.
I'm proud of it.
Don't qualify your proudness.
There are a lot of just pre-made tools on the NPM library. One of these being modals, and I don't want to name any names, but Zach Moreno told me to get an NPM modal, and I said no. And this is kind of my proudest creation. I created this modal from scratch, so yes, applause. And I'm going to just pass it off to, who wants up? All right, Falco, who's going to just talk about.
Gonna squeeze out a few more minutes on the idea. So, the thing, if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons before,
Unlikely.
Yeah.
I clearly have. Look at me. So the idea is to basically, you have a dungeon master, you have players, and the dungeon master takes these players through a campaign. But usually, the way that this happens is everyone's sitting around a table, they have their own sheets of paper, and dungeon master has to basically, depends on a lot of just verbal communication, and sometimes that can get in the way of things because you're in the midst of battle, you're really fired up. You don't necessarily want to tell your DM, hey, I'm about to die, don't have this creature attack me, please. So for that kind of use case where we kind of just want integral parts of the D&D experience to be accessible to the right people at the right time, we thought we'd build a companion app essentially to the D&D experience. So The idea is DMs making campaign, they invite players, and the
Dungeon
players...
Masters?
Sorry?
Have you explained that that means Dungeon Masters?
Yes. I tried to... DM is fine for now. Dungeon Master sounds...
Too formal? Yeah.
Too
later.
formal, yes.
So with that, I'm gonna pass it off to Max.
Hey, everyone, what's going on?
Hey, Max.
All right, so I'm going to talk about some of the user interface and actually like walk you through this app extremely quickly, the moment you've all been waiting for. So this is like this is our application. One of the things we wanted to do that we prided ourselves on that Advin already mentioned is try and style everything ourselves. And so like we didn't want to use any like libraries outside or like. We wanted to see how much we actually use because you figured, you know, like you can get a lot of learning that way. So this is all like, I made that. Like, I made those buttons, I made that title. Not the background.
Oh.
I went too far. Okay, so these are the buttons. These are like, so when you click it, it already opens this modal. You can click anywhere else. We use less for this. Like less is just another. It's a 3 processor for CSS. So it's built like on top of CSS basically, and it like makes it very easy to organize your code and like into CSS. And so it's just very simple to make something like this. There's like nesting components, and like it makes it very easy to follow the structure of the application. So. It's fairly straightforward, and I'd like recommend anybody using something like Sass or less for any other like styling if you're ever trying to do it by yourself. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm just gonna quickly log in here. Sorry. This one's pre-made. Okay, sweet. So yeah, that's Falco, and it's here like a list of campaigns, so you can create a new campaign, but for sake of time, I'm just going to like click into one of these. And yeah, so here are like some actual like players that are already in there. Yeah, like, yeah, I animated that myself actually. But yeah, so these are the basic cards that you have. They have like little traits on them. It's like something so that like a dungeon master can keep track of like particular things. Like one of the things we thought was like most important to keep track of was their health, because you don't want to keep asking somebody like, hey, like, what's your health? Like, what's going on there? And so, yeah, I kind of want to leave it to Falco actually to talk about like a little more as to like why this is necessary, because he has more knowledge. I mean, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So, kind of, we envisioned the game board for the Dungeon Master to contain, in addition to like information about the players, which the players update themselves, also like basically certain key elements that they had planned for that session, like plot points, as well as like kind of any NPCs that they have planned for that session that the players are gonna run into. That's version 2. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to Alan here just to talk about like some of the back end portion. I'm totally unintentional.
Steve's job's of humanitarianism, apparently.
I'm just going to talk briefly about the back end.
So these are the technologies we use. Obviously, it's a MERN stack, so everything from React. We use JSON Web Tokens for the authentication, and yeah, Lodash to kind of like process some of the arrays and stuff like that we created, and also encrypt. So the passwords are actually encrypted before they go to Mongo database. For HTTP requests, we use Axios. And something I wanted to point out that I learned when I did the file structure in the back is, I don't know if you've heard of like, or if you guys used service-oriented
Yeah.
Yeah,
versus
we did.
like MVC. So I wanted to really like use that structure instead. So like here we have a service. It's kind of like app in Django where you could isolate everything. So we have everything here. So we have like our controller, our model, and routes all in one like folder or directory. And that's pretty much it. Going back to the app. So here, I just want to show that the tokens are actually saved in local storage. Yeah. And you can also just approve it and approve it, so it's there.
It's there.
Pretty much it.
Good, because I didn't believe you guys for a second.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about briefly on challenges and next steps. Challenges, as you can see, this app is pretty much done. So there was like no challenges. No, the challenges came into, so this is just like, personally for me, when we got like homework assignments to use React Router, I was guilty of going through some of the assignments and kind of being like, oh, here's React Router, I'm just going to copy paste that and using that again. But for this actually, I went into the weeds, read the doc, so it was fun getting involved with React Router and just linking all the components together. That was a good time. A little bit challenging, but just like most, you just like reading docs again. It was a little bit challenging working with all our schedules because we were like, well, 2 of us would be in 1 week, and then the next week the other 2 would be out. But do you guys have any challenges really? For next steps, so we've secured, I think, like a seed round of 5 million, and we're probably going to use that to just get a CTO. No. In all seriousness, next steps, we do want to make it so that multiple players can log in at once and have a dungeon master that they're tied to, so that the idea is the top half of this game board would display data that the dungeon master puts forth, which could be monsters, which could be an inn, which could be just like player text, and then completing a few more of the player features. Something that we didn't show off is we do have a story page where the dungeon master can put in their story of like, keeping track of what's to come next, and some more styling, because when you have this, when you click on one of these guys, it's supposed to show more information. What it does actually is upside down. You can tell that I did that.
I made that from scratch.
I'm sure you all have questions. We're not taking any. Any questions?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, besides like flip the photos upside down, what does it do?
It's a legit question.
I don't even play the game.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I don't play the game.
Yeah.
So if I were a DM
Yeah.
and I wanted to find out my other DM's health, could
Yeah.
I log like that's the point?
So,
Fair question.
So I made this out of a checkbox. So this is actually all CSS. It's all CSS. It looks ugly, but it's actually just a checkbox. So when you check it, it flips. When you uncheck it, it'll flip back. And what it's supposed to show is for the player, they can kind of check and be like, hey, here are all my stats, my spells, my items. It's supposed to be just like a profile page, like a small profile page. And so the primary use for this would be for the player side. So there's like player, and then there's DM. DM is just like the admin. And so the admin wouldn't use this upside down functionality just because it's so innovative. What they would use it's mostly for the player, just to be like, hey, like I'm going to use my fire spell. I'm a mage, and it's for just like tracking. It was supposed to be for tracking.
Maybe like who's knocked out or something?
I mean
or-
that's why we have it. That's why. It's because we wanted to see who was knocked out. So good. That's a good feature. Yeah.
Basically, the front of these is supposed to.
You have a lot of questions.
The front of
I
these
thought too.
is supposed to like show overview information.
Yeah.
If you're a player and you're logged into the game board, if you like flip over your card, like Evan said, you'll see basically all of the details. but depending on like who you're signed in as, you won't be able to see the details of the other players. Or if you're signed in as the DM, you'll like basically be able to see everybody. So you'll like be able to flip everybody's card over because you need to
They all got
like
knocked
know
out.
that information to run your campaign well.
Cool.
Right. Yes.
I could imagine another really useful feature would be something, the ability for players to send secret messages to the DM, like if they want to conspire against each other without being able to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without being, because otherwise it's like too awkward to be like doing that.
Yeah. We'll that.
And just maybe like in Slack you can do kind of like emojis. I could imagine like just like kind of nonverbal communication of like ding ding ding, like I'm attacking, so I hit the sword thing and like a sword blinks or something. You know, just to like do that sort of communication. Like the card's kind of, flipping the card is kind of like that, I guess, but could do others.
Do that. Any other questions?
Yeah, can we get a medium tutorial on those animations, please? Yeah, you guys write one up for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was, I'm trying to think. It was, CodePen had it and I just copy pasted it.
All from scratch.
I mean,
All
from
from
scratch. CodePen is our other teammate. He's not here right now.
He couldn't make
Wish he could make it.
Cody. There's my Cody.
Any other questions?
I think that's enough.
All right, cool. Clap for that.